What's up guys, I'm Sean. It's time to overhaul the suspension on my E92 M3. And this is what I'm going with. Bilstein B16 PSS10. These are manually adjustable, not Demtronic. With the Powerflex black track rear shock mounts to go with the non-EDC rear shocks. As well as Powerflex front sway bar bushings and SPL front sway bar end links and BimmerWorld rear toe arms. So I've been working with BimmerWorld for over a decade. They help support my E46 M3 track build as well as my F82 M4 build, and now I'm working with them on my E92 M3 build. This is the part number for the Bilstein B16 PSS10 for the E9X M3. I went with the non-Demtronic because I want to manually adjust it when I'm on the track. My 2011 E92 M3 is a competition package, so it has EDC suspension, but I want something adjustable to close the wheel gap. So the rear wheel gap right now is about 1.5 fingers, and the front is about 3 fingers. So the wheel gap is way too big for my liking. So I want adjustable coilovers that I can corner balance for the track, but also close the wheel gap. So I will lose EDC, so I'm gonna have to get it coated out. If you follow my channel, I already upgraded the front tension arm with the BimmerWorld monoball bearing when I upgraded my brakes to the F80X M3 M4 brakes, and I already added the Overhauled camber plates. I'm going to reuse my Overhauled camber plates with the Bilstein Coilovers. I'm using a 21mm Schraubing tool, and then I'm going to use a 10 to hold that. I just loosened it for now, but left a few threads. Now I'm going to get down to the suspension. 16mm right there with a 16mm wrench holding the sway bar end link so it doesn't spin. And then the 16 right here. And you can use a wrench to hold the head right there. Put the jack underneath. Should be tension on the spring, so I got to be careful when I lower it. Then I'm going to loosen the top nut so the suspension should drop, leaving the Overhauled camber plates. So this is the bottom half of the Overhauled camber plate. Top half is still there. And here's the spring with the top nut removed. So you have to kind of wiggle it out, but it will come out. I gently tap the chisel in the spindle. Now I can pull this out. The Bilstein kit came with instructions. So it says to use the OE top hat, but obviously I have the Overhauled camber plate, so I'm not going to use the OE top hat. I'm just going to use the OE washer right there, and then the Overhauled kit, and then the Bilstein nut on top. The kit came with an Allen key that you loosen right there, and then the spanner wrench. So now I can bring this down just to make it a little bit easier when I slide it into the car. This is the passenger side, right side coilover based on the sway bar end link mount. So I'm just going to slide everything in. All right, everything's lined up. So I could tighten this down a little bit later. But I'm going to start putting everything back together on this side, and I'm going to tackle the other side. Same thing on the driver's side, besides the headlight leveling sensor, which is a 10mm. That you have to remember to do that or you're going to break it. The Bilstein top nut is a 22mm with a 7mm Allen key in the middle. All right, passenger side is done. It's been torqued down to OEM and Bilstein specs. Driver side is done as well. Now it's time to do the front sway bar end links. We already removed one side to the coilover. Now we have to remove the side that goes to the sway bar. It's a 17mm right here, and then a 16 on the other side. Again, the SPL front end link, adjust it similar to the OEM one. Make sure that the threads on this side is sort of even on that side. So before we continue this, let's get to the sway bar bushing. This is the front left driver side. That's a 13 and that's a 10. On the passenger side, front sway bar bracket, it doesn't have the small 10. So the whole felt panel has to come off because there's another nut on the inside that you can't get to without removing the felt. So the felt is a bunch of 8s and maybe some 10s all around, pretty straightforward. Now you can see the 13 on the other side of the sway bar bracket. So I'm going to use some pry bars to try to pry out the bracket. I did loosen the front plate a little bit to give it a little bit more room. It just ended up prying the front bushing out. Factory front sway bar bushing, it's like hard rubber. It actually didn't allow the front sway bar to move freely. The Powerflex bushing has an opening, slit on the top. So I just put in some of the grease, then I'm gonna slide this on the sway bar first. All right, bushing on, now I just have to reinstall the bracket. Now the sway bar moves freely, whereas the OEM one, the sway bar is like stuck. So now I just have to torque it down and put everything back together. Now it's time to install the sway bar end links. And remember, this dome shape goes toward the strut on the coilover on the back side. This part goes on the sway bar, and SPL says torque it to 30 foot-pounds. Pretty much everything has been torqued down. So I didn't tighten the sway bar end link nut on the adjustment of the sway bar end link yet, because I have to play around with the ride height and then adjust the sway bar end link so there's no preload before I tighten the one right here and the one on the bottom of the sway bar end link. So for the EDC wire, I'm just gonna put some electrical tape and tuck it away because we won't need this anymore. Doing a quick test fit with the wheels on, and of course it clears the spring perch, but again, that only depends on my ride height. But for now, it clears no problem. And these wheels are repurposed for my M4, 18 by 10.5, ET24, so they're way too wide. And I'm running 295/30/18. Not ideal for this car, but it fits and it clears. Now we're gonna tackle the rear. Before we get to the shock, we have to remove the panel on both sides. It's a bunch of little push tabs and a Torx T40 right there. These push tabs are a little difficult to come out because it's hard dried up plastic. There's a screw right there and a screw right there. Since I'm going to code out EDC, I have to remove the EDC connector, and it's the blue connector right here. So push this down. Let's unhook that. Now we can get to the top of the shock here. Let's pull this out. So that nut is a 22 mil, and I'm using a 10 to hold the shaft from spinning. Similar to the front driver's side, this is the rear driver's side. Make sure you disconnect the 10 millimeter nut that goes to the headlight leveling sensor. All right, starting on the rear passenger side, I'm gonna start with the tow arm. It's 18 millimeter, 18 right here. And then the shock is 18. And the bolt for the spindle down here is 21 on this side, and then nut on the other side. On the other side of the factory tow arm bolt is a Torx T14. And I removed all the bolts. Now I have to go back inside the trunk to remove the top of the shock so the shock can come out. All right, I just pulled out the rear shock, and now I just have to tap that off. I already took off the bolt, so I just push down on this and then pull the spring out. We're gonna reuse the bottom pad. We're not gonna reuse this cap. So you just tap this out with a hammer and this thing will pop off. So the Bilstein rear adjuster, little pad on top, and this goes into the chassis. And I left about 1 inch of thread. So I don't know what height it's gonna be, so it's trial and error, but this is a good starting point. The factory bottom spring pad has these little ears or tabs, and they only go a certain way. So make sure you install it correctly. Install the Bilstein spring and make sure it lines up with the bottom of the spring. So it installs like this. And make sure you position the set screw facing you so you can get to it later. So now we're going to tackle the rear tow arm. So just make sure the threads are even on both sides. And it's about lined up with the factory. Alright, I did the springs and the tow arm on both sides. Obviously I didn't tighten it yet. Now I'm back to installing the rear shock. So there's some minor disassembly you have to do to the Bilstein. It's a little confusing, so you got to make sure you pay attention to the directions carefully. And what's actually really tricky is this end stop right here. You have to make sure that the end stop matches with the end stop in here. I just marked it with a permanent marker right there and right there, just to make sure it all lines up. So when I disassembled it, I could reassemble it exactly the way it was. And then once I tighten the set screw, I still get 10 clicks. So if you install this incorrectly, you're not going to get 10 clicks. You're going to get less or 0 clicks. So you got to make sure you reinstall it correctly. Unfortunately, the Powerflex track 12 millimeter rear shock mounts won't work with the Bilstein. If you can see, the Bilstein setup is pretty much a sub-assembly with a couple of different sleeves. So when I compare it, OEM sleeves right there on the left, Bilstein is in the middle, Powerflex is on the right, and you can see the Powerflex is already maybe 2 or 3 millimeters too tall, as well as the outer diameter. It's not thick enough compared to the Bilstein and the OEM, so therefore the Powerflex will not work. So I'm just going to follow the instructions and just use the OEM rear shock mounts. And again, mine has EDC and it works with the Bilstein. So I have it set up already. Now I have to install the shock into the car and then install the top pieces here. The bottom part of the suspension has been torqued down to spec. So the BimmerWorld tow arm, follow the BimmerWorld instructions. Obviously these nuts aren't tight yet because I have to get alignment. But the lower shock bolt, 73 foot-pounds. Lower control arm bolt, 122 foot-pounds. You also want to torque the suspension under load. So this side is pretty much done, but I have to go to the inside of the trunk. The next step is the OE bushing, Bilstein washer, then the Bilstein nut, and then this sleeve, and then this part, and then the cap. The importance of putting a mark on that so it can all line up. Now I have to install the adjustment knob, making sure the end stop touches that end stop back there. And I'm going to tighten that set screw and I'm going to test it. Alright, success! So the end stop is correctly positioned. And now I have 10 adjustment points. Now with the Bilstein adjustment knob, you have to cut a slit or opening so you can get to that adjustment knob. Installation is complete. I cut slits on the panel. You could barely see it, and if I want to adjust it, I just pop this off. And now I can get to the adjustment knob right there. Put this back like that. Same thing on the driver's side. Just open it up and get to the knob right there. First test drive. I have the suspension set at 5 in the front and 5 in the rear, and that's out of 10, so that's right in the middle. And the car rides pretty good. It's a little more firm than stock. I would say it's almost like Sport Plus feeling. If I set it up as 1 or 3 soft, it might even feel better. So right now it's right in the middle and it feels firm and nice for a lowered car. Getting alignment back here at Fremont Alignment in Fremont, California. I just finished my alignment, and this is what I like to run for a dual purpose street track alignment. It's a little aggressive for the street, but it works. -3 in the front with 0 toe on both sides, and -2.2 in the rear with a little bit of toe in. And this is a good dual purpose street track alignment. Alright guys, that's a wrap for now. Stay tuned for my next video where I show you how to code out EDC, as well as my thoughts on these Bilstein PSS10s on the street and on the track. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.